Hi, I'm Nathan, and you're listening to the Queer Conscious Podcast. Somewhere right now, someone is rereading old texts, trying to figure out why the relationship went wrong. Someone is 3 years out, and every time they listen to a song, they can't help but spiral and think about their ex. Breakups don't always run on a schedule. They don't care if it's 2 weeks out or 2 years out, but there is actual science on how to recover from one. So that's what we're getting into today. And who better to talk about breakups with than my own ex boyfriend, Juan Reynoso? We're going to talk about our breakup, what happened, what we've learned since then, and how it feels to sit across from each other and say these things to each other for the very first time. So if you've been looking for a way to get through heartbreak that's backed and researched and backed by experience, then look no further. Let's get into it. Juan Reynoso, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
How does it feel to be talking to your ex 4 years later on a
You know
podcast?
what? It's it's been a long 4 years. I feel like I haven't seen you in 4 years. No, just
Do
kidding.
you really feel
Just
that way?
no,
It's like
no,
we
no, not
have
at all.
seen each other.
No, yeah, no. No, it's a good place. I think I'm in a good place in my life, to be able to hold this conversation, and I always love, like, just sharing with you and just reflecting and all these things. So I'm just super grateful and stoked, so I feel good to be here.
Likewise. And I am honored that you are having this conversation with me. I feel very grateful that we've had such a great relationship post breakup, and that we've always had love and respect for each other. And I don't always see that when in the gay circles that I'm a part of, and I don't always and
Mhm.
see the healthiness that we have, and I want to share that with people. And so um, maybe we just start off talking about our relationship and the breakup itself. I know when I look back at my last two exes, I'm very happy that I still love and respect them. And I think that shows that I'm better at choosing exes. And that I'm showing up better in these relationships as well. But yeah, I just have nothing but positive things to think about, in those relationships, at least when it comes to you. For me,
No.
I definitely have some areas of improvement that I could have done. But how do you reflect on our relationship when you think about it?
Um, well, I will first preface by saying I have a lot of respect for you too, and I think like our relationship really came at a really like pivotal time. I think for me personally, I had been married previously before. It was a long term relationship. Previously to that, I was in a long term relationship. So I think when you came around, we were friends. We kind of established like we were community friends and working on like vision aligned work. So I think for me, moving into like more like romantic side of it felt like okay, I'm gonna try this, right? Um,
Hmm.
and so for me, I felt like it was a beautiful foundation to kind of experience what it was like to be in a healthy space again outside of a more tumultuous breakup with my past partner with my ex-husband. um,
Yeah.
so for me, I think if there is obviously there's when I think about what it was like, during our relationship, I think we were dating for about what, like 7 months, maybe. Um,
Hmm.
8 months, 2 days, and 24 hours. No, just kidding.
And 36 seconds.
Yeah, but who's counting? No, it was for me, I think yeah, I think our relationship came at a beautiful time in my life where I felt like I was deserving and needing that dynamic.
Yeah. And I would say the same thing too, because my previous relationship, and it sounds like yours too, was very tumultuous. It was 3.5 years of just hurting each other. And I'm very
Mhm,
much guilty of that in that relationship. So it was nice to have a relationship where we were kind to each other and
mhm.
communicated well. So, um, how would you describe the story of our breakup?
Mm, I mean, I've always been kind of a long-term for the long haul kind of person, right? I mean, I feel like my past partnerships, my exes predominantly have been people I've been with for multiple months to years at times, and so I think for me, like when we dated, my initial was like, okay, this is going to this is a sustainable thing. This is hopefully a long-term thing. And so, you know, dating, exploring, adventuring, all of our wonderful vacations and camping and stuff. Just I loved that part of like exploring and seeking. Um,
Yeah.
really, I think like filled my heart. Um, and so like when, and during that time I was also, getting I was it was during the pandemic. I think right in the beginning of the pandemic, I had to move to Washington for a few months to finish my student teaching. You were here. And so I think that last few months of our relationship towards the end of our romantic, like the exing, was really kind of chaotic for me because I wanted to be physically present and I couldn't be. And
Yeah.
so I think for me, like the beginning, like the starting of the engine of the relationship felt like, oh, okay, this feels safe, this feels comfortable. We have similar visions and we want family. Like all of these things felt like, okay, this is vision aligned. And then when my personal life became a little chaotic and we both like are, and I don't want to speak for you, but I think for me, like trying to search for how do I hold on to this narrative of what I hope this relationship will be like from,
Yeah.
a different state, um, not being physically present. I think for me, when it was like, oh, okay, this is not working anymore. It kind of felt like I hit a wall. Like I felt like, whoa, like a smack in the face of like, wait, what do you mean it's not working anymore? Um,
Yeah.
and I think for me, the ending part was a little, it was a jolt. There was a lot
Yeah.
of like cognitive dissonance around it, and I realize now a lot of that was my own, my anxious attachment to what I thought the relationship should be like, almost having like this is the end goal, and if it's not this, something's wrong, right? And I think that's something that I'm personally continue to work through in my current relationship and partnerships and things like that. So, yeah, I think that's the story of the breakup was two roads
Mhm.
diverged into different spaces, and just kinda happened. I think just life happened.
Yeah, I like the way that you described that because all I remember is the argument we had at the campsite for my birthday. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah, it
Trying
was
to
your
choose the
birthday?
right campsite,
Oh my
and I was so
gosh.
frustrated. And
Which was
I
very,
had
like,
to.
out of character for you. It was so
Oh,
different.
yeah. And I
Uh-huh.
think in realizing, I think the last 3 months, there was, like, some difficult conversations we're navigating, on monogamy, being open.
Mhm.
But throughout that time, I didn't like who I was becoming, and I realized I was being really nitpicky. I was nagging at you for a bunch of things. Do you remember any of that?
I mean, you know,
That's how
I
I
just
felt. I felt
I
like I was being an obnoxious, needy boyfriend, and I
mm,
realized that nothing you could do would make me want to be in any relationship. Like, I just was not in that
mm,
place, and
yeah,
I wanted to be. I thought I was. I thought I was ready for that, and I remember feeling really guilty and bad afterwards, like, I wasted 8 months of your life be
mm,
because I was beating myself up. I was like, "Nathan, you should have known this," and I couldn't have known without having been in the relationship with you to
right.
really realize, like, I still don't know myself and who I am as a gay man yet, and so I discovered a lot about what I wanted and didn't want, but I was just not available emotionally.
I
Yeah.
mean, I and thank you for that, like, reflection, and I feel like it's funny because hearing you, like, play back that, like, kind of reflection of, oh, you felt like you were nitpicking and, very, like, high maintenance and all these things, and for me, maybe it's the the partnerships that I end up in and or have ended up in up until now, it's funny, there probably was a type of this kind of,
Maybe.
like, this, I tend to like to be this kind of supporter, and so I think you may be feeling like, "Oh, I'm nitpicking or this and that." Like, for me, it just felt like, "Oh, I need to just show up a little bit more. I just need to be to reassure you that it's gonna be okay and that I'm still present." And what's funny about that is, and for me, in reflecting on that kind of behavior, it's like I wasn't even giving myself the opportunity to say, "Hey, something's off here," and something's off, but I'm trying to flood you with, like, trying to put a Band-Aid over to the reality of that things
Mhm.
shifted.
And what's so funny is that just pushed me away even more, which is I'm like, here's this man showing up for me in incredible ways, and I don't want it. I'm like,
Mhm,
something's off here. Like I found a way to make a problem, and I realized at that moment I'm like, I'm not ready for a relationship.
mhm.
And yeah, anyway, so I apologize. I do feel bad that I did not figure that out sooner.
I
But
appreciate the, apology, the kind of the reflection and the accountability. Um, my story around it, it doesn't feel that way. I don't feel like there was time wasted. If I recall, many times I was, and I think I even do this now, which is not a healthy behavior, but constantly being like, "Hey, like, if you're not in this, like, just let me know." Just checking in, every couple weeks, every month, like, how we feeling about
did
this?
you?
Are we
Did you say that?
I think towards the end I was kind of like I never wanted to be surprised. I never
Interesting.
wanted to like feel like what just happened, right? And so I think when your
Yeah.
birthday and we were up in the river and we were coming down, like that was the first time I
Mhm.
think where really was like, oh, okay, there is something off here and I don't know how to approach it. And so we had that long, long drive home all the way from NorCal.
It was like silence. We were both like agitated,
So,
and
oh
I
my
don't even know
gosh.
why. I
I think it
don't
was
even
just
know
the
why.
energy and like and I could be
Yeah.
I'm very stubborn. I will put that out there. I'm a very stubborn person. And I can be very passive aggressive. These are things that I continue to monitor in myself. And I think for me, I was like, wow, we're gonna not listen to any music and I'm gonna have the windows here and I'm just gonna like stare into the abyss the whole time.
Ah,
So
that was so uncomfortable. I
so
do
I
remember that now.
apologize too if there was any, if I made that separation and I think the idea when you're explaining it about like no matter what I was doing, it was almost like a repelling you more. I feel like maybe I smothered you rather than like just giving you a little time to breathe those last couple months, and just maybe saying, hey, like take some time and I'm going to give you the space you need. Then we could have, maybe avoided those last 2 months. But I think it's neither here or there. I'm grateful for everything
Yeah.
we learned.
Yeah, and I thank you for that apology, and to be honest, I don't remember any of that on your part. I just remember the positive things truly, and, I do remember feeling a little bit smothered,
Mhm.
but I don't think not smothering me would have made me emotionally available, sadly, and so I really don't think there was anything that could have made me ready to be in a
Mhm.
relationship. And I think that also just goes to show like it doesn't matter how much love there is in a relationship and respect. If you're not compatible or if you're not ready for a relationship, you can't make something work. You can't force something to work, right?
Yeah.
You have to want the same things. You have to be ready for the same things. You have to want them at the same time. And it doesn't mean you're a villain. It doesn't mean I'm a villain. It doesn't mean, we're bad people. Because I
Mhm.
did notice my brain try to find something wrong with you. And I was like, oh, he's just so nice. And he's always there for me. And I'm like, oh, Nathan, it's not him. It's you. Like, you don't want a relationship.
Mhm.
And so I think too often we try to find a reason to justify the separation other than
Mhm.
it's just we're not ready,
Yeah.
right? So,
It's just not
wha
working.
how do you think we've been able to maintain such a supportive relationship post breakup?
That's a great question. I think there was space, I think, given for both of us. I felt like, when we separated, when we broke up, um, I think it was like very beginning of July. It was like pretty much end of June, July. We were kind of like uncoupling and like trying to figure out that. And I remember we had a very I went over to your house and we had like a very like deep, deep conversation. And this was already after we decided, hey, this is not, I don't think this is what's going to work anymore. And I think this was my last, like, maybe there's a chance, right? So I was like going to meet with you and we went to, I think this, like, we parked on the side of the road at some like park area where we used to go hiking on the side of the road and we just talked. And I
Mhm.
think for me, looking into your eyes and being in your physical presence and feeling like, okay, like your boundaries were down, like your guard was down. I felt like you had kind of come back into your body and that allowed me to be super vulnerable with you. And I reflect on this. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I might have been a little too emotional, I think, in terms of like trying to like keeping you or trying to convince you that you were deserving of this relationship when in reality it was like it's just not the time and it's I'm not the person and that's okay. Um, and so after that conversation, I'm not sure if we like formally said like we're giving each other time, but
Mhm.
it just kind of naturally happened. I think we both just knew that we needed some personal space. And
Yeah.
I was worried because we are in a lot of like community work together. And I was thinking, okay, well, what happens if I see you, during doing pride work or, we're doing like some grassroots work in the organization and we share a lot of mutual friends because we're all doing this like beautiful community work. And so it's like, how do I, and this for me, this is really a constant question is like, how do I continue to try to embody what's healthy when I myself was feeling like I want to see you, but I don't want to see you. I remember we ran into each other at Pride they had like a festival or something like the party or
Mhm.
something. And I hadn't
Yeah.
seen you in it was almost like a month. And I was with
Mhm.
my cousin. And I remember like we had friends that we were like, oh, you're going to be there. And I remember we just caught eyes and I felt like something punched me in the stomach. And I was like, ugh,
Ah!
like I knew we were going to see each other. It's been about a month those 30 days, okay, let me lean into this. Like I still
Yeah.
have mad love for this person, right? I still care about this person. That doesn't have to change just because
Yeah.
our relationship dynamic has changed, right? And so I remember we both like embraced and we were like, "Oh, it's good to see you." And and I remember hugging you. I wanted to like hold a little harder, right? Like a little tighter and like not let go, but then be like, okay, like my cousin is like they're just like staring at me, like, okay, it's time to go.
Yeah.
So I
Come
was
on
like, oh,
now.
okay, girl. Yeah, she got my
Yeah.
back. But
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's for me. I just giving space, taking that space.
And I think that's gonna be one of the strategies we talk about. But we're gonna talk about some of the strategies
Oh,
about,
nice. Okay.
how to recover from a breakup. But I think that distance is really important. So we'll circle back to that. But before we do, studies show that it takes about 3 months to actually emotionally recover from a breakup. That at least 62% of the participants that they studied were able to get over the distress in about 3 months. And then, 12% took up to 6 months and then some longer depending on your mental state. What's your reaction to that timeline?
It's interesting because I was looking at that study. It's interesting because the population that they looked at was people who were in a romantic relationship from like 0 to 5 months. And so there is this, I don't know if it's like this idea of, I mean, a wives' tale or just like this thing where it's like, it takes half of the relationship to finally find yourself. So I think,
I've
okay,
heard this too.
so
Uh-huh.
6 months being like an average of these participants in this study. So yeah, 2.5, 3 months, it feels about right. I think about, oh my gosh, there's so many layers to this. Like, what was the reason for the breakups, right? Um,
Mhm.
was there infidelity? Was there harm? Was there a lot of conflict? Like, I think all of those things will create more layers as to the time it takes to heal. Um,
Yeah.
for you and I mean, I would say we had a very healthy relationship.
Mhm.
But I feel like, okay, so we didn't have a lot of emotional like hurt towards each other. Like there was not like a lot of
Yeah.
abuse or there was none. I mean, I didn't feel any.
No.
And so I felt like, okay, this is just us understanding that this romantic piece and this life that we've created for 8 months is going to look different again. The article too also talks about whether you're the person who's the receiving person who's being broken up with or the person who breaks up I guess who breaks
Yep.
up the relationship. So
Yes.
so obviously it was a little harder for those who were at the receiving end of the news of like
Yeah.
this isn't working anymore. It's not you, it's
Well,
me.
that's interesting because I was, I guess, probably the breaker upper or the giver of this news. Um,
You were.
and I would say
You were.
the majority the majority of the stress was done in about 2 months or so, but
Mhm,
what lingered for quite some time was the sense of guilt that I
mm,
was the bad partner in that relationship, and that lingered for years and prevented me from putting myself out
mhm,
there or going on dates for a very long time, and so while I wasn't in distress about the breakup itself, it sort of created this narrative like, "Oh, you don't deserve a partner. Like, did you see what you
Mhm,
did to Juan? Like, that's
mhm.
crazy. Like, stay away from men for a while." Oh, yeah. Oh, and then my mother obviously took your side. She's like she was like,
Who
"You
I
broke
adore,
up
by
with
the way.
Juan! Nathan, you hurt him." And I'm like, "Mom,
I'm
like,
so
can you just
sorry.
like" Anyways, so that didn't
It's that
help.
Mexicana Latina mom. Like, you know what? Like, I get it. I'm sorry that happened.
Anyways, that's okay. We have moved on. We're both in relationships now. We're both very happy. So, I mean,
I
and I
love
learned
that.
a lot from that
Yeah.
relationship. So, we'll get into like what we've learned and what we're doing
Mhm,
differently. I want to skip now to the strategies for how
mhm,
to heal from a breakup because they say that breakups feel like pain, like it's grief. You are losing somebody. And, especially if you're sleeping next to that person multiple times a week, like
mhm,
your body gets
mhm.
so attuned to them and their energy and having that support system. So when that gets ripped out from your life, like there's a gap there and it's physically painful.
Yeah.
So the first strategy, which we've somewhat talked about, is avoiding contact with your ex for at least 30
Mm,
days. And so
mhm,
there's research published that says keeping tabs on former romantic partners through social media hinders emotional recovery. Both surveillance and being around them are reported to have greater jealousy and overall greater breakup distress. And so 30 days is what they recommend. I know for me, I needed a lot more time. And what's funny is I think it was confusing for me because I loved you and had so many positive feelings for you, but I didn't want a relationship.
mhm,
And I think I didn't want to give you mixed signals. I was confused inside, and this person deserves decisiveness. And I need to figure my shit out. So I'm just
mhm.
going to separate myself until I figure out what the hell is going on with me. So I think we didn't really talk regularly for a while. So I wanted to give you your space.
Yeah, and I really appreciated that. I think that was one thing that, um, I feel like we naturally had moved into that. I think after that conversation we had in the car, right after we broke up, and it was just like, I'm gonna need space, and you did. That's one thing I've mentioned this to you many times in person. You did give me the opportunity to move through my own feelings and my own stuff and to kind of reflect and I've had partners in the past who have, let's say there was, there was conflict. It was a tumultuous breakup. It was an ugly one, right? Jointly participating, and so there's a lot of this kind of back and forth of wanting to apologize and resolve and create conclusion, and closure right away, which just prolonged the harm for multiple years. And so in this
Mhm.
situation with you and I, there was rest. There was opportunity to say, go find yourself again. You do the same, I'll do mine. I'm really grateful for that because I feel like that's the reason why we could have these conversations today.
I think I said I did a lot of that for you to have your space. I'm lying if I said I also didn't need that,
Mhm.
right? There were still, I remember seeing the picture of you in Puerto Vallarta, and I was like, oh, look at him. And like, I noticed like feelings of like jealousy and like, he's going to go out there sleeping with a bunch of dudes. Like, and I would roll my eyes at myself. I'm like, oh my God, Nathan, calm down. Just take some time for yourself. You broke up with him, first of all. And so I needed that time. I think like what you said is just to reconnect with myself, rediscover who
Yeah.
I am and what I want in life moving forward. And at that time, it wasn't a relationship, and I needed to honor that decision. So
Yeah.
I think 30 days minimum, like, don't talk to your ex, give yourselves the opportunity to recalibrate. Because that's what you're really doing, recalibrating your nervous
Yeah.
system to being single, even if you do want to be friends with them after, because you can't just jump into a friendship when you've been romantic partners. Like it's a
Yeah.
completely different type of relationship. You need to separate yourself and come back and create that connection from scratch, which we've been able to do.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
and trust that it'll be there. I think that's a big part
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, strategy one, no contact, 30 days.
No
Strategy
contact. Mhm.
two, Remove environmental triggers. So, constant reminders like old photos and social media
Gosh.
stalking. Looking at their solo eat, pray, love trips to Puerto Vallarta is going to keep the relationship alive in your mind, which isn't conducive to moving on. So, removing
Mm-hmm.
photos, gifts, and other reminders helps break neurological patterns. Um, okay, question. What's the most surprising thing that you kept from an ex?
Um, their yearbooks.
What? What?
But it wasn't like intentional. It was more of we separated very like quickly, and it was like very necessary. We just weren't safe for each other anymore at this time particularly. And so, you know, we had a lot of stuff that was just like in a storage and here and there, and then realizing, my gosh, like several years later, that I have all of these like childhood memories in a box of this person. And I'm like, wow, like this is very like memorable, like heart filling things. And I'm like, do I
Did you
throw it
give
in
him
the
back?
trash? I did.
What'd you do? Okay, okay, great.
So yeah, so it took time. It had been, I'm like, gosh, like 4 or 5 years. And so, I had seen the box. I was thinking, do I send them? Do I throw that? Like, do I put them in Goodwill? So I just said, I'm just going to leave it in the storage. And so I realized that part of me was still like, even though it wasn't my things and it was like in that corner, there was still, I think, a sense of control that I felt like I didn't have in that
Mm,
relationship that I still had, even though he hadn't asked for them yet, but I knew he would. And part of me was also fearful that if I had got rid of them, he would come back and it would be create another layer of emotional like trigger and hurt and
yeah.
trauma. I was like, okay, so I'm holding on to because I want to feel safe, but I'm also holding on to because I know there's power in this. Um, and so
Oh,
eventually,
that's
he
some
did.
good self-awareness.
Yeah,
Like,
and then he did come later. I mean, this had to be like maybe last year, early last year. He randomly messaged and was like, "Hey, we actually talked on the phone," which was
okay.
really weird. And it was just like, okay, it's been many, many years. You seem to be in a good place. It was just like a really weird, awkward conversation. And then it was like, hey, so you got those yearbooks? And I was like, oh my gosh, I do have those yearbooks. And so I just said, you know what, I can send them to you. And he's like, yeah, just let me know how much the shipping is. And so yeah, and so I just the very next day got that box, took it over to the post office and send it out. And I'm assuming he got them, but I haven't talked to him since then. And since then, and this was again like this more than a year ago, I
Yeah.
feel like there's complete closure in that. And it's weird because it was a
Oh,
box.
good.
It's weird.
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
like, why do you need that control anyway, or that power, right? Like,
It's just
what does it
things.
do for you eventually? So I'm glad you got that closure.
Yeah.
I will confess, I have your sunglasses in my car still. They're like those.
Sunglasses.
They're like cheap ones that you got at this event with like it looks like wood on the sides, but they're like kind of Ray-Ban esque looking
Oh.
sunglasses. Anyways, those have become my car sunglasses. So anytime I go to the
Feel
beach
free
and
to
I
keep
forget them, I'm
them
like, oh
and
hey.
yeah.
No, well, I think I tried to give them back to you, and then you were like, I don't want them. Just keep them. I'm like, okay.
Oh,
So
was I
those are
sassy?
still in my car.
Was I being
I
sassy?
don't know. I don't know. I'm just being silly. I don't
Hard to
think you said it like
believe.
that. Um, and then you did buy me some jewelry, and
Uh-huh.
I wanted to throw some of that away. And I
Hmm.
was like, but it's so nice. This was a gift for me. Like, I can't throw it away. So I didn't wear it for like 2 or 3 years.
Hmm.
And then eventually I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to like wear this and just because it's nice jewelry. So thank you. I do wear
You're
it now.
welcome.
but
You're
but I had to
welcome.
hide it. I had to hide it for a while, then I brought it
Yeah.
back out. So
Yeah, I
anyways.
think with those possessions, and I think for me, what I feel around those like memorable possessions that are given and gifted, it's like they hold value, they hold a lot of purpose and intention behind why I got it, why I received it. I did at one point my wedding ring. It wasn't a very expensive,
Mm.
beautiful one, but it was like this nice carbon type like one, and I held on to it for a few years. And I remember that was one of the items. I went to this kind of spiritual group, like letting go men's work group. And one of the
Mm,
things was to bring an item that held like power over you. And so I let go of I basically threw my ring in a fire, like, releasing ceremony, and that was
Oh
it.
my
So, I mean, I was like,
god.
maybe I could have,
So
like, given it to s
you had the yearbooks that you held power over him,
Mhm.
meanwhile keeping this ring that held power over you. I'm glad you got rid of both of those.
Yeah. Exactly, exactly.
Good. You didn't need any of
Oh my
that.
god.
So let's move on to strategy 3.
Mhm,
Processing emotions with compassion. So, research shows that
mm.
adaptive coping strategies like processing your emotions and showing compassion can lead to better outcomes. So, basically, feel your damn feelings, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we want to, you know, go out and pretend like nothing's wrong. Um, what do they say? The best way to get over someone is get under
Just to get
someone,
under them? Yes.
and then, but you're not actually feeling your emotions. Maybe you are. Uh, but I know I had a breakup playlist that I would listen to every morning, and I'd like,
Mm.
go out on a walk, listen to my Taylor Swift and Adele, and cry, and then let the
Mm.
waves of grief hit me. And I did
Mhm.
that for about 30 days, and then eventually, like, process through it. But it's very important to feel your emotions, as you know. So, what do you think the difference is between processing your emotions and wallowing? And
Mm.
how do we know know when we're being indulgent in the negativity and,
Right.
like, actually honoring the emotion?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think, this is twofold. I feel everything we do is about balance, right? So, wallowing for me is when you aren't moving, you aren't listening to your body. Like, like this is not within this context of relationships. Well, I guess I can bring it to, again, I'll bring it to the ex-husband. There was like visceral responses to like, I feel ill. I feel
Yeah.
sick. My body is
Mhm.
not allowing me to eat, to do these things. I need more help than just like I need to process. I need to seek therapy. I need to get outside. I need movement. I need somatics. Like I needed to find that support system. So otherwise, I would be wallowing. I would have just laid in my bed and cried and not ate and got really sick. And for me, it's
So it sounds like for you,
having
when you're not taking care of yourself, like, that's when you're wallowing, when you're not doing the things
yeah,
you need to be
yeah,
doing.
yeah.
And,
And I
like,
mean,
you
and the
shouldn't, right? You
timeline.
shouldn't let a man get in the way of your care for yourself ever,
Exactly,
right?
exactly. Any
So,
person. I mean, we are deserving of all the love and like pouring into ourselves, whether we're in relationships or not. And I think that is what happens is we forget to take care of ourselves sometimes when we're in
yeah.
relationships.
Yeah,
For
and
don't leave me.
how many times did I tell you to take care of yourself when we were
One.
dating?
No, I'm just kidding.
What?
No, I'm just totally, totally kidding.
Don't
No, no,
even.
no.
I
I
still
think
tell you.
you do.
Fun question for you. What is the
Yes.
best breakup song in your opinion?
Ooh, the best breakup song.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why do I feel like it's gonna be a Toni Braxton song?
well. Honestly, he wasn't man enough for me. Honestly, is like one of my favorites of all time. Just because, but that's more of like someone else gets your man, and like
That's great
you're like,
though, you know?
yeah. I
Honestly,
really
sometimes it doesn't
love
even matter.
no Alanis Morissette,
Yeah.
like when she's like
Oh,
screaming, the one that's like, "Ah, I don't know, da, 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 da,
you
remind
oughta
me."
know. That's
Yes,
such a good
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. That's
Such a good one.
that's like feeling it, like where you're angry, and I think
Ugh.
you know I'm like I said, you put on a slow song and it's like has some type of word of like, I feel I'm gonna break down, I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna
Right. It
lament.
could be about, like,
Like,
kittens or something, and you're still
it's
breaking down.
easily moved by music. So I think
Yeah.
they're all
Ugh.
appropriate.
I will say, the Tortured Poets Department,
Oh
like,
yes.
from Taylor Swift,
Yes.
there's a song in there called "So Long London," and the lyrics
Who?
just, like, break me every "So Long London."
No, I was like, who's the artist? I'm just kidding.
Shut up. Get out of here. Anyways, strategy 4,
Mm,
lean on your support systems. So,
mm,
social support plays a crucial role in buffering
mhm,
against emotional distress associated with romantic breakups and can mitigate negative psychological effects. So, the study says that quality of the relationships matter more than the quantity and how many friends you actually have. What
mhm.
do you think makes support actually helpful?
Yeah, and I love the idea of quality versus quantity. Can probably count on my hands here my core friends that I've known for multiple decades. I'm aging myself. I may not talk to them every, maybe once a month or whatever, or twice a month, but we can lean on each other in the most deepest parts of our life, whether that's through loss through seasonal loss, whether it's through death, through death cycles of relationships, like whatever it is, it's like they can hold that depth for you. And so for me, having an emotional, like, I'm very grateful and very honored to be able to have and privileged to be able to have a family that supports me. When our breakup happened, like, I really leaned into my cousins. So I have these core cousins that
Your
we all grew,
cousins?
my cousins. So we have a cousy text thread as well. So we just
Oh my
share
god.
silly memes and jokes and stuff. And,
Uh,
it's very much like it's my res cousin. So, cause we all, we grew up on the reservation. So it's all of my res cousins. So our humor is very like dark and funny and very like just niche. But I remember when I went through my breakup, and you got to meet my cousin Natalie. She was like, let's go eat dinner. Let's go out here. Let's do this. Like, let me just bring you some tea. Let's go for a walk. And so she was really like crucial in getting me to move. Like, she's like, you have a lot going for you, so you need to move your body. And so that's I've yeah. So she helped break those patterns, and I guess check where I was
yeah,
wallowing, to be like, hey,
yeah,
I haven't seen you up and about lately. You remember you used to love hiking and you're not doing that anymore. What's going on? Like, oh well, well,
yeah.
let's go do it. So yeah.
That's good. Yeah, because it's important to get out and back into a normal routine.
Hmm.
And thinking when I think about what qualities I want in a friendship, it's hard because at first I want the one that's just gonna take my side and just be like, "Oh, you poor thing. I'm so sorry."
Hmm.
Because I can't handle the brutally honest friend right away. I will get so upset. I'll be so hurt. But eventually I need that. I need someone to be
Yeah.
real with me and be
Hmm.
like, "Nathan, you were the problem." If I was the problem, right? I do
Hmm.
want someone who's gonna be honest with me, but in
Yeah.
a gentle way, because obviously we're hurting. And I try to do that for my friends too, because sometimes I'm the brutally honest one too soon, and my friends
Mm.
don't like that, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta be
Yeah.
patient with them. Let them heal for a little bit, and then you can start, telling them what's actually going on. But I don't
Your
wanna be like, "Your
observations.
ex was toxic, you're codependent, you're this, you're that." Like, I need to calm down sometimes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have been
So
called by a few people that I'm a velvet brick. So it's like when I'm giving counsel or like supporting that, hearing on the receiving end is like being hit with a velvet brick. So
Oh
I'm
my
like, oh, I
god,
don't know if
that's
that's a
such a
good
vivid
thing, but
description. Oh, I think that's a great thing. That means, like,
so
you know how to keep it real, but, like, gently, right?
yeah,
Like, you're not gonna get a concussion, but it might knock you over, okay? So, that's okay. So,
yeah, yeah,
alright,
touche.
shall we go to the next strategy?
Sure.
We've got 3 strategies left.
Oh wow.
Strategy 5, avoid rumination, but allow reflection. So, repetitive and passive focus on negative emotions related to the breakup is strongly associated with prolonged emotional distress. However, there are studies that say that repeatedly reflecting on the breakup actually speeds emotional recovery. The
Hmm.
distinguishing quality of that reflection is, are you doing it? Are you working through self concept reorganization? So basically, redefining who you are post breakup, what you can learn from the situation versus the negativity of it. Um,
Mm, interesting.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Um, what did you learn from our relationship?
Oh, well, the one that has like is very much like screaming at me is I realized that I held a lot of personal judgment and implicit bias towards different
Mm,
relationship dynamics. How relationships exist for partners or partnership. For me, I think I held a lot of internal judgment and how I would articulate, like if I was expressing like, oh, I am a monogamous person, I prefer monogamy, blah, 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 blah. It would I was like, "Oh, you were really stating your claim, Juan, like really your positionality, but it was rooted in a lot of like valor and also like this kind of like, that's for them and that's great, but that's not me." And so I think for me, after a relationship, like really looking at how do you communicate your needs and desires and wants in your relationship, hold truth to like my own personal values and also be accountable to the narratives around those values and like the upbringing. So for me, like I learned to be more open-minded. I've been in my relationship with my current partner for 4 years now. For him and I to be able to talk about like, hey, right now we are monogamous, but like, hey, what happens 5 years, 10 years down the road? If and ever when you feel like you need more or want more, please tell me and I will tell you the same.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that we have now reached the end of our relationship. It's we will look, we will strategize, and if it aligns, it aligns, and if it doesn't, okay. But like being
Yeah.
able to even articulate that feels like, wow, okay, like thank you, Nathan, for like I guess presenting these kind of topics about relationship dynamics, and then just like even watching friends and stuff who are in successful relationships have helped me understand like again it's you and that person, right? And so for me, I've learned to be more aware of my biases, and specifically the
Yeah.
ones that what I thought was like, oh no, that's fine, that's great, I love that for them. But even like the for
Yeah.
them, it was already creating this kind of layer of like, okay, get off your high horse. So
No, I appreciate you that. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your openness to those conversations when we were in a
yeah.
relationship. Um, yeah. I will say what I learned from you is, well, one, I feel like dating someone who is able to have difficult conversations without blowing up,
Mm,
without being petty. And I know you mentioned you think you're passive aggressive. I didn't sense a lot of that at all,
mm,
but I felt like you raised the bar for what I deserved in a relationship, but also taught
thank you.
me how to be a loving partner. And I hadn't had that before.
Mm.
So now in relationships, I show up a lot of the ways that you showed up for me. And I really appreciate that.
Hmm. Thank you. I received that.
Paying it forward.
Yeah.
um, what have you done differently in your current relationship that you're like, oh, I don't want to do that again?
The first one has just been creating, keeping that sense of self, and really like creating a personal boundary around my own life, my own goals. Like, and I say my own, not like, because I think ultimately with my current partner, like we have the same end goal. We have the same vision
Yeah.
where how we arrive there might look different based on our own internal experiences and our familial experiences. I needed a lot of assurance. I've noticed that in my past relationships, like this kind of, oh, my love language is words of affirmation. Well, was it really that, or was it like you were anxiously attached? I think
Yes.
like I needed to hear validation because I felt I wasn't secure. And so
Yeah.
now, you know, I live on my own. Like I see my partner like maybe 2 times a week, and we have like very intentional time, but it allows me to
Mm,
have my friendships, have my work, have this like be able to still thrive and do me. And he's able to do the same thing.
mhm.
And I think had I not been in a space where I could understand it's okay to still exist and have that self identity, which is so crucial, I think I would have like
Yeah.
meshed very quickly. And it's like it's everything is us. I have to check with it. It's no like, am I available to
Yeah.
do this? I'm
Which we kind
available.
of did. We did do
We,
that quite a bit, I
yeah,
think.
I think well, we're very like involved community members. So I think the nature of our
Yeah.
work involves that. So I think that was
Yeah.
also to we respect each other's like professionalism. And he's also
Yeah.
very, very like he's very busy. He'll sometimes travel on his own, go see his
Yeah.
family. And it's like, oh great, like, yeah, go see them. Go see your grandparents in Mexico. Go do that. Right. And um, yeah, so for me, I think it's just learning to enjoy the space, enjoy like the time to actually miss someone. Like I feel like wonderful in this space, and I think
Mm,
I owe that a lot to just being in relationships, whether they were unhealthy and they helped bring up sides of me that's like, or these healthy, more secure ones where it's like, you're gonna be okay, and this is
yeah.
normal. This is healthy for you.
That's great.
Sorry,
And
it's
you've
kind of
been
long
together
winded.
4 years, so congratulations on that as well.
Yeah, that's like
Um,
20 years and the community. Just kidding.
I know, right? 20 years of dog years or
Yeah,
gay years.
exactly. No,
Um,
thank you. Thank you
I
for
will
that.
say something that I've done differently in relationships is very similar to you, but it's I'm more focused on self-regulating,
Mm,
and I'm noticing I probably have some type of disorganized attachment because I'm either avoidant or anxious depending on what my partner is. I'll do the exact opposite.
mhm,
It's a way to protect myself from any intimacy, but I know the patterns now,
mhm,
and so now I realize a lot of the times I was bringing things up to complain about as a way to push people away.
mm,
It was coming from this sense of being scared and distrusting of love. So in order to do that, I'd be like, "Well, you didn't text me this way, and you didn't heart my message, and you didn't, show up with the right flavor of coffee. How could you forget?" And I would always like find things to complain about. And I think I just didn't allow myself to be happy in a
mm,
relationship and to really look at, is this person showing up for me consistently?
mm,
Are they showing up in the best way that they can? And more often than not, they have been, in the relationships
yeah,
I've been in. So I don't nitpick at things anymore. I self-regulate, I self-soothe, I breathe, and I go live my life. Similar
beautiful.
to you, right? I have a life and I go live it. And that's helped me and the past partnerships that I've had to just thrive, especially the one I'm in now is just
Oh,
wonderful because
beautiful.
I'm not being a needy little brat. So, but that's
Well,
not to say you should just
congratulations.
I will say that's not to say you should completely disown your needs and not ever have those conversations,
Mhm.
but it's like a every once in a while versus an everyday thing, right?
Yeah, that's that
Yeah,
rumination, right? It's like even like the breaking the loops of things, right? It's like,
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
and congratulations on your current partnership, and it sounds like it's
Thank
going
you.
really beautifully, so I'm happy for
It
you.
is. Look at
Yeah.
us. So, I mean, these are the kinds of questions though that help to elicit reflection.
Mhm,
Like, what can you do now versus the rumination of whose fault was it and how could I have prevented this? And it's like you can't. Like you
mhm.
can't know someone's right or wrong for you sometimes without leaning in and trusting yourself. And yeah, sometimes you get into a relationship that's not meant to be, but what you take from it can help build a relationship that is absolutely worth it. And I think you and I have both experienced that now because we do
Yeah.
have that growth mindset. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, touche, love
Um,
that.
yeah. So, okay, so strategy 6 is something we're already starting to all of these kind of lead into each other, but building self-concept clarity. So, self-concept clarity, having a clear, stable sense of who you are is significantly related to post-breakup growth. So,
Mhm.
essentially knowing who you are, having goals, and reconnecting with parts of yourself that you lost during that relationship. So, there's a lot of studies that show how much that helps you. So, I'm just curious for you, Juan, like, did our breakup or any of the breakups you've had help you to rediscover parts of yourself that you lost?
I think in our relationship, it was for me, it felt very abundant. It didn't feel, like there was a need to, like, fulfill it felt very, like, wholesome to me, and so my pattern, that I've kinda had to rediscover or, like, really, like, illuminate was this overextending myself, this idea of, like, if I
Mhm.
pour excessive love and very present, always available, my availability was just like, "If you need me now, I will be right there." And while I think that's nice in theory, um, it started to show up and it still sometimes shows up in my own work now where I'm like, "No, like, healthy boundaries are important." And for me, I had to
Yeah.
recognize that just because our romantic relationship didn't continue, um, didn't mean that all of the love and stuff we poured into it before that didn't just cease to exist, right? I didn't have to
Yeah.
overextend and buy you all
Yeah.
these things or like, try to spoon feed you the love, like you need this for me, like, and I felt like that's like a
Yeah.
something that I think because in my past relationships, I've been like this kind of caretaker. And that has been like the model of like, you need to show
Yeah.
this person they're deserving of love.
I'm really happy as someone who's been on the receiving end of that overextension that you've
Hmm.
placed those boundaries in because I think I could tell sometimes when it was from an authentic place and when
Hmm.
was from like an anxious place. Like,
Mm,
and
mhm.
so when you weren't taking care of yourself, I'm like, "Why are you doing this? Like, you don't need to do this for me. Like, I need you to take care of you."
Yep.
And what's funny is I have had similar tendencies in relationships now, and I'm like, "Oh, shit," like, I'm doing that thing that Juan did that like and, um, and so, I have to catch myself too because I
Mhm,
think you and I have both come from really nurturing families and,
mhm.
we have that quality about us, and it's really important to make sure that we are doing it from a full cup versus an empty cup.
Mhm.
So, I relate to that a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it doesn't apply for relationships, but it's like,
Yeah.
if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. Like, this kind of,
Mm,
like, really leaning into, "Do I feel good that I want to do this?" versus like, "I should do
yes.
this because," and it's like, "No, that doesn't feel right. It's not authentic."
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I
yeah, sorry
agree.
about that.
And it feels better too when you do it from that place, and, I have to catch myself as I like to do lots of romantic gestures in my
Oh.
relationship, and I'm like, "Do you need to do this?" I'm like, "No. Do you want to do this? Yes. Is it gonna
Yes.
disrupt my life right now? Yes or no?" Um, great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do have to check in. Anyways,
Yeah.
so I think one thing for me that I had to rediscover from our relationship specifically was just I think it was just the whole idea of self-concept, I didn't have it, and I think that's
Mm,
why I couldn't commit, is because I didn't know who I was really. I was just so excited to not be this closeted, ashamed gay boy anymore
mhm,
that I was
mhm.
like, "Oh my god, the possibilities are endless. I can be poly, I can be monogamous." There were so many options, and I wanted to explore everything. I wanted to have, all the sexual experiences, and I
Yeah.
hadn't given myself that opportunity yet because I had lived so long in the closet. And so this idea of self-concept, right, post breakup, I realized I really needed that,
Mhm,
and I should have done that before getting into a relationship, but I didn't know any better. So, for me, those next 3 years was really focused on myself and just figuring out, what do I want in a relationship
mhm.
moving forward? So, yeah.
Oh, I'm really, it makes me feel really good to know that you gave yourself that time to explore, to adventure, to, I mean, I'm just putting this word out here, but I mean, it doesn't have to be a negative word, but to be messy, to just to kind of like just be
Yep.
you. Like, I think we,
And I was a little
for,
too messy at some point, so I coulda reined it in a bit.
I mean, you hit the nail when you talk
Yeah.
about like coming from nurturing families. I think there is this kind of like cultural nuance to like showing up and doing it. And it's like this, again, in theory, it sounds beautiful to be able to like be there at all times and the availability, but we also don't have to exist in a space where we are constantly having to show our labor to show extension of our love. Like, what I do for you is not my love,
Oof.
right? I think it's just, it's really,
Oof.
and I think those are the exploitative and extractive mechanisms that we have learned as society to, it won't show up this many times. This one time I don't show up, it's going to break all the trust and effort I put into this prior to that.
We gotta pause with that for 1 second because what you said is really powerful, and I wanna make sure everyone hears this is what you do for someone is not love, is
No, yeah, like it's not how much of things I do for you to like to show my love for you. So like I think
Yeah,
about just how we understand love. I mean, like for instance, my dad, like he wasn't the most emotional person to like share and like talk with me, but he showed his love through just doing, like constantly
yeah.
working, but not available to us when we were younger emotionally. And I'm like,
Mm,
that wasn't helpful to me as an adult. I didn't learn
yeah,
what it was like to be a healthy partner because I didn't see it. I saw my
yeah,
dad buying the things, accumulating materials and paying, but that was his experience, and it's
right.
I
And that's such a boomer way
I
to show love, I think,
mhm.
right? Is
Yeah,
to show it through doing and through
right.
money, and I like what you said as well, as really the foundation of love is the trust, and,
Mhm,
I think even I mean, there's a lot of ways, I think, to
mhm.
show love. It's not just of the
Yeah,
doing. Doing's part of it, but it's also showing up for each other every day, being available, being open,
mhm.
receptive. So yeah, I love that. And the trust
Yeah,
that you
thanks.
build each and every day of doing that. So, oh,
Absolutely.
okay. Last one. Are we ready for it?
We are ready.
Strategy 7.
Ooh.
is to start dating again, okay? When you're
Oh,
ready.
yeah. When
So
you're
what's funny
ready.
is there's quite a bit of judgments that you'll hear from people, that those people that jump from relationship to
Mhm.
relationship. And so it's sort of looked down on upon to, like,
Yeah.
recover from a relationship right away and jump into a new one.
Mhm.
However, moving on quickly is a predictor of faster recovery from a breakup. So
Ooh.
the key phrase
Okay.
is you have to do this when you are ready, because
Mm.
the research also shows if you are that person that's jumping from relationship to relationship, it tends to be less satisfying because usually you're trying to escape something, right?
Gotcha.
But
Mhm.
if you are open to dating, let's say a couple months after the breakup, like, that is very normal. And actually,
Mm.
that will help you to get your confidence back. Um, I don't know if I needed to wait 3 years, but I'm glad before I jumped into my next relationship. I'm glad I did, because I think I realized why I left that relationship. I didn't know who I was. So I took that time to
Mm.
really
Mhm.
figure that out. So I think for me that worked. But from my last relationship, I think I only waited like 4 months.
Mhm.
And then I found another person who is wonderful. So
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I'm curious, how did you know? Because you got into your relationship pretty
Pretty
quickly
quickly.
after we
Mhm.
broke up. How long was that?
It was less than 90 days.
Great. How did you
Um,
know? But you've been together 4 years, right? Obviously, something's
you know,
working there. How did you
yeah,
know you were ready?
I am again like a very like goal oriented, like vision, like forward person. So, I think for me, like moving from like one relationship to another, this idea of like, okay, like when is closure needed for previous relationship to kind of move forward into the new one? And I think for me, there was again, like just to kind of repeat what we talked about earlier, there wasn't a lot of like there was no harm. There was not this idea of like one of us like we left the relationship, we did something hurtful to each other. It was in a sense very amicable. We just our roads just kind of pivoted, right? And so like for me, I had to be like, okay, was it me? Was it Nathan? Like what is it that I mean, I know I wanted to be in a relationship because I was already into a healthy one. I felt it was a healthy relationship. And so I was like, okay, so it's not a negative thing. It's not like I'm trying to do I need a relationship? I think that's what I had to ask myself is like, do I want one? Do I need one? Again, toying with the idea
Mm.
of like, can I be alone? And so, I got on the apps. Eventually, my Eat, Pray, Love moments, I went up, to Puerto Vallarta and was on the apps and I did have fun. And
Good.
I surprised myself because it wasn't that's not something I would have normally done in a past Juan life. And so I was like,
Yeah.
why not? Like, eat the cake. Like, why not? Right? Eat the
Yes.
cake. Pun
Uh,
intended. No pun intended. And so I was like, okay. And I felt like, okay, after that, I was like, this feels weird because it's not my partner that I just was in a relationship with, and it doesn't mean anything. It's just sex. It's just fun. Um, and I was like, I can do this. Like, I can choose and dictate how I want to navigate my breakup. And so, and I remember like this was like late August. And I live in North County, San Diego. So there's this, it's slim pickings up here. And I think you and we were already friends. So we were able to find each other, through our friendship. But I mean, there's not a lot of community up here in North County, San Diego. And so I was like, well, I'll go on the apps, and so, my current partner, I remember, he hit me up with a no picture profile and I was like,
oh my God.
ugh, I'm not responding to this person. So then it was like, then he sent his picture and I was like, okay, well, whatever,
Oh,
so
maybe I'll respond.
so we went on a hike and I was like, okay, I need to just be moving. This person is like healthy minded, right? They like, okay. So we went on a hike. And our hike, we were just, I mean, I talked a lot. I mean, I'm a big talker, as you know.
No. You?
I know. I'm usually so shy. I'm a big talker, and so he is a great listener. And so he just was like absorbing everything I was saying. And I was just like, okay, I think I've said too much. Like, is this, and I was just literally telling him everything. Like, I just got out of a relationship. I'm looking for friends. I don't know what I mean, it was very much like, I don't know what I want. I don't
Mhm.
even know if I was all over the place. And he's just
Yeah.
like, okay, like, that sounds great. And shared a little morsel, probably like 10% of the 90% time he was able to share some substance. I allowed him room to talk. And it was so deep. It was like very like, oh wow, like there's a lot of depth to this person in such a small, that quantity and quality piece, right? And I was like, oh, okay, like,
Yeah.
so we went like, do you want to go have lunch? So we went to lunch, and the conversation, it was like we were really very quickly in that friend, just kind of sharing space. And I think from there it was just like I was still able to like uncouple from our relationship. I was still obviously grieving that. I was still grieving it and working through it. Um, but because our relationship, my partner and I, like, we have such separate lives, and very, we're very much with our families, but it's like, okay, we'll make intentional time at least once a week to see each other. And that kind of became the pattern. And we did a lot of
Mm,
exploring, which I really love because that's what you and I would do. And I'm like, okay, this feels like something I'm used to and I'm comfortable with, but also like I could still talk about you, Nathan. I could still bring up these things.
mhm.
Um, and he wasn't judgy about it. And I was like, I know you're like, oh, you don't talk about your ex a lot with this new person, right? And he was just like, and he'd share a little bit about he was very freshly coming out on his own. And so
Yeah.
like we were just kind of in these new stages of our lives. And I'm like, well, this can't really go anywhere. We're both like in
Yeah.
different parts. And there was no expectation. There was no pressure to like
Mhm.
show up a certain way. It was just show up when we make that intentional time, like, and
Yeah.
that has worked for us, and it's been that now. And so it's like when we say we're going to do something, be intentional with your word and show up. And it's
Yeah.
been beautiful. And I think for me, I don't know if I was ready, like if there was a moment like I'm ready. I was just like,
Yeah.
I want this.
I think part of what is working had worked for you is that you were able to be honest with yourself. But
Mhm.
also, I think it's the way that you talk about your ex that matters when you're talking about exes. There's a difference when you've learned something from your relationship, past relationship, and when you haven't. And when you can tell
Mhm.
that someone's in the negative about it, they're obviously not ready for a new relationship. And it
Right.
sounds like you were ready to let it go. You were just processing as you went.
Yeah.
And I mean, these are the 7 strategies. So, avoiding contact with your ex, removing
Mhm.
emotional triggers, process your emotions, feel them, lean on your support systems, avoid rumination, but allow
Rumination.
reflection, build self concept, and start dating again when you are ready. Is
Mhm.
there anything missing specifically for gay men from that you think would really help them?
Ooh. I think, again, just understanding that it's not a one size fits all. I mean, yes, these are like peer reviewed
Yeah.
research, like kind of strategies, and they are
There's always
supportive and
outliers.
exactly, exactly. And I think as gay men, sometimes
Yeah.
we are already those outliers, as queer people, right? And so I
Mhm.
think being open to the possibility that this isn't linear, right? Like it's not do one, then do two, then implement strategy three. Like it's you're going to be implementing and moving all of these strategies and what works for you. I think just moral of the story is like find what works for you and have compassion for that. And just
Yeah.
be really honest with yourself because you'll feel it.
Yeah.
You'll feel
Yeah.
what's right for you.
Yeah, I second that 100% that everyone's breakup's gonna look different based
Hmm.
on the support that you have, based on how the breakup happens. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
Juan, thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank
I
you.
hope
This has been a
people
pleasure.
get a lot from it. Can you just share a little bit about what you do and how people can find you?
Yeah, yeah. So I co-run a nonprofit here in San Diego, California, called the Queer Soul Collective, with my co-founder Giovanni Perez. We are an Indigenous queer arts coalition. Practitioners really embodying queer spirit within the arts, within education. We put together these really beautiful spaces where we bring intergenerational queer community together, as young as you can be to as old as you can be, and just really like diving into what is community care, and really showing that through the reflection of like empowering queer leadership, at the helm of everything.
Yeah,
So we have a
and I
retreat this
had
weekend.
an incredible time at that retreat, Mata Yum. And I highly
Yeah.
recommend you all go and check it
Thank
out.
you. You can find us at The Queer Soul. That's SOL.
Uh-huh.
And then you can find me at J Reynoso 25.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Juan. Appreciate
All
you
right.
so much.
I love you.
I'll talk
Thank
to you
you. I
soon.
appreciate
Love you
you.
too.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you for listening to the Queer Conscious Podcast, where we explore how love feeds us, heals us, and gives us life. I'm your host and queer love coach, Nathan Serrato. But remember that the conversations that we're having here today are not a replacement for working with a licensed therapist, professional coach, or mental health practitioner. These conversations are for entertainment and education purposes only. But if you are dealing with some big challenges and you're thinking about seeking some professional support, it is one of the most empowering things that you can do for yourself. You can visit queerconscious.com for more information on how to do that. Now, if you love today's episodes and you want more episodes like this, I need your help. Please leave a 5-star rating and review. That's going to help me to bring you more high quality content and interviews. So until then, take care of yourself and don't forget to let love in.